Hi, and welcome along to AFTV. We are here for some breaking news. Obviously, you know, we do the live show a little bit earlier, but I thought we'd do another one because of this big news that's been breaking tonight, and it's all around Raphinha, the Brazilian who's been heavily linked with a move to Arsenal. If you watch my Transfer Daily, you would have heard me speaking about it over the past couple of weeks. Even as early as this morning, I was speaking about how Newcastle look like they've entered the race. We know that previously Barcelona has been Raphinha's number one destination, but Barcelona, short on money, can't really get the deal done. Then we were told that Tottenham were interested in him, but it looks like they turned their attentions to Richarlison. Chelsea was said to be interested, but then were more chasing the signature of Raheem Sterling. And despite me speaking this morning about how Newcastle were entering the race, it seemed like the favourites to get Raphinha were Arsenal. It looked like they were going hard after him. Now, breaking news coming out this evening that it looks like it's going to be Chelsea that have gazumped Arsenal and are going to sign Raphinha. News first broken by David Ornstein on Twitter. I'm reading his tweet here. He put exclusive: Chelsea close to agreeing a fee north of 55 million with Leeds for Raphinha, but not done yet. Chelsea now best place with Leeds and the 25-year-old as long-term favourites. Barcelona can't afford it at present. Plus Arsenal not currently at the required price. So that's what David Ornstein said regarding the deal. And then our old friend Fabrizio Romano also then came out later and spoke about it as well. And he had two tweets. His first one said, more on Raphinha. Arsenal had a meeting with Leeds and made a new verbal bid in the last hours, turned down by Leeds. Barcelona also called Leeds again, but no chance to match Chelsea's bid. Chelsea are now working to get an agreement done, and also on personal terms. And then he done another tweet after that, and he said Chelsea are now going into talks with Raphinha's side and agent Deco, yes, the former Chelsea midfielder. On the personal terms, it's a key step before here we go. We know he does his famous here we go when a player's about to sign. As Arsenal and Barcelona were in talks with Leeds also this morning. Deal fully agreed between the clubs. So let me explain what's happened here. At the moment, basically what's happened is this. Chelsea have come in and they put a bid in, and it's said to be around about 55 million plus. Some people are speculating it could be up to 60 million. Some people even saying it's 65 million, right? The bid has been accepted by Leeds. So that means Leeds United as a football club have said, listen, you give us that money, no problem, you can buy Raphinha. Now all Chelsea have got to do is speak to Raphinha and say, listen, we put a bid in for you. Let's agree terms now. We'll pay you this amount of money per week, blah, 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 blah. It looks like he's going to Chelsea. And a big blow to us at Arsenal. There's no way of hiding it. I was really excited when, you know, I see all these links. I was thinking to myself, it would be a great deal to get, you know, Raphinha in, even though a lot of Arsenal fans were pointing out that, do we really need Raphinha? We've got Saka, who plays in exactly the same position, and he's been brilliant. But as I said, it's all about competition for places. It's all about bringing in quality, 5 subs next season, needing a big squad and a good squad. And Raphinha was really an exciting signing. But Chelsea looks like they have stolen a march on Arsenal, and they have got Raphinha from right under our noses. And I just wanted to get your views on it and find out what you guys think of the whole thing. It's almost like a bit of a triangle when I'm kind of looking at how everything seems to be panning out, because Chelsea looked like they were going after Ousmane Dembele at one time, who of course is at Barcelona. Barcelona looking to hang on to Ousmane Dembele. Is it that they've hanged on to Ousmane Dembele, then Chelsea have just said to themselves, well, let's get Raphinha? Because they've really come out of the blue to get this deal done, Chelsea. And they're moving quick. So it's this question right now. Are Arsenal going to respond? Are Arsenal going to come back and say, well, you know what, actually, we'll match what Chelsea are going to pay, and we want to speak to Raphinha as well? Or are Arsenal looking at it and saying, that's too much money, our ceiling was, say, 50 million, we're not going over that, and yeah, fair enough, Chelsea, you can have him. And I want to find out from you guys how you feel. Are you disappointed by this? Or do you think to yourself, Arsenal are right not to go with a ridiculous bid over the odds when we're still early in the transfer window and there's still other targets we can go after? But I ain't going to lie to you, I am a little bit disappointed. And I'm not having a go. You know what? I'm not, at this stage, I'm not having a go at Arsenal. I'm not having a go at Edu. I'm not having a go at Arteta. I don't think this is one where you can look on it and say, oh, we moved too slow and blah, blah, blah. This is always going to be a difficult deal to get done. And the problem is we haven't got Champions League football. Chelsea have, and that's, you know, and we know that Chelsea have got unlimited funds. So it's not like having a go at anybody at Arsenal, but it's just a bit disappointing because it would have been a marquee signing. But how do you guys feel? Want to get your reactions tonight. Marco with a super chat here says, it's a huge overaction from the fan base. 65 million is madness. Well, we're not sure exactly how much it is. Some people are saying it is 65 million. Other people are saying it's 55 million. But we don't know. Cameron Lowry says, with another super chat, he says, I'm fuming because they won't turn around and get Gnabry. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying, all right, you know, get Gnabry then. You know what I mean? Let them have Raphinha and let's go and get Gnabry. But how do we know that Gnabry is going to be available? How do we know that Gnabry doesn't sign a new deal and stay at Bayern Munich? Or have they heard something at Arsenal that maybe they're thinking, well, actually, no, we'd rather go and get somebody else? I don't know. I really don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Because even this whole thing from Chelsea, it's come out of the blue. As I said, we know that Chelsea have kind of held their interest, but them coming in with a bid like this, all of a sudden, bang, it's a bit out of the blue. And it really has sort of taken all of the Arsenal fans by surprise. On a day, by the way, in which, you know, we should be happy because, you know, Gabriel Jesus done his medical today, set to be announced tomorrow. So, but this would have been nice to have added to this one. Wizard says Gnabry is just baiting Arsenal fans. And then there's this one from Billy Dalton who says, I want Ousmane Dembele now if Chelsea sign Raphinha. DJ Brito Rabosh says, we've got Jesus and Mohammed. We're good. We're going to win everything. Winnie Way says, I don't even care Chelsea wasted 100 million. They don't have a striker or defenders, and midfield is dry up. Raphinha will flop. Now, that sounds a bit like sour grapes. Listen, a couple of days ago, we were all singing Raphinha's praises. He's a quality player. Full stop. If he goes to Chelsea, he goes to Chelsea. But we can't turn round all of a sudden now if he's going to Chelsea and say, oh, he's going to flop. He's going to be, you know. I actually think, you know, looking at Arsenal, I actually think with a player like Raphinha that he'd suit the Arsenal system. I actually think that, you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's because of all the changes that have sort of all of a sudden come in at Chelsea and that why I'm feeling this way, because obviously Chelsea, you know, over the years, they've, you know, their record speaks for itself. They've won a lot of things. There's no denying that. But I don't know, it just doesn't seem like the same Chelsea. I don't know. Is it because Abramovich has gone? I don't know. But certainly, if they get Raphinha, it's a massive statement by Chelsea that they're looking to come hard in this transfer window. Miles Smith says it would be great to get Raphinha. Was it a key area to spend 60 million on? I would rather qualify in areas we need. And that's a great point. Listen, right from the start of the Raphinha links, and I was at a function earlier. It was a YouTube function that I was at earlier on, and I was there with a couple, you know, loads of people there, but I was with a couple of people that I was speaking to earlier who are big Arsenal fans, and they were saying to me, Robbie, I'd love to get Raphinha, but do we really need him? They were like, we should be going after Tielemans. That's more important for Arsenal. Lisandro Martinez. Those are more areas that we need right now. You know, even if do we really need Raphinha? And I was saying to them, well, I guess they're looking at it and saying if he's available, he's a quality player, let's get him in. And they were like saying to me, all right, I don't mind it as long as we get Tielemans and we get Lisandro Martinez, because they're like, Robbie, we did this before with Pepe. We didn't really, when we got Pepe, that wasn't an essential position that we got. And I was sort of saying to them, yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying, but so maybe, you know, these things happen and then, you know, in the moment, you're a bit upset, you're a bit gutted, nobody wants to lose players and be gazumped by Chelsea. But could it be a thing that, you know, by tomorrow or the day after we sort of kick back and say, you know what? Did we really, hand on heart, is that really the signing that we needed? Or were we just sort of, because he's such a you know, an exciting player, wanting that to happen when really and truly it's not an essential sign? I don't know. I want to know how you guys feel. 1980 Rules says, it's not a huge deal, but I'm a little disappointed because a deal like this would show fans of other clubs that we are serious. No need to overreact, but let's get more signings in. And I think you break that down very well there. It was the fact that it was such a exciting signing. And you're right, there's a lot of fans of other clubs that were looking at this and thinking, boy, Arsenal ain't messing about. Jesus, Raphinha. They brought in other players already. They're looking to bring in, hey, Arsenal is serious. But, like you said, we can't overreact. JK said, of course, it would have been great, but 50 to 60 million for competition is simply too much when we have other areas we need to improve. And Miles Smith says it will be, I think I already did that one. Thank you very much for that one, Miles. Jay Petty says, Robbie, you Arsenal fans admitted Raphinha is better than Saka for no reason. Who said that Raphinha is better than Saka? I never said that. I don't know what fan you spoke to. Maybe you spoke to some other fans. I never said that. He says he's just joining a bigger club. Sorry, he's obviously a Chelsea fan. Hold on. When did I say, I don't remember me or even anybody else on AFTV anyway, saying that he's better than Saka. He's a great player. He's an exciting player, and I'm not going to deny that. But when did I say he's better than Saka? So, yeah, steady. Chill out, yeah? By the way, Chelsea fans, why do you need him? Haven't you got the great Ziyech? As you all told me, I was all cussing me about, right? So what do you need him for? But Babatunde Lomi says, big up Robbie, if you are to sell any of your young stars for a quality replacement for Xhaka, who will it be? I'm not selling any of the young stars. Arsenal got to stop being a selling club and, you know, and be that club that's out there buying the big players. And that's why it's a little bit disappointing, you know, the fact that we're probably not going to get Raphinha, but it's not the end of the world, I don't think. Ice G says, big up AFTV on the Claude Cup event. Best moment was the wall penalty shootout. How much did the event raise roughly? Right wing is not a priority position. We haven't gathered up all the money we've raised yet because we got a couple of videos that are going to be coming out with the game footage of the events, and we're still going to be raising money. And then once we've finished that, after about a week, then we'll give you the figure. But it was a great day. It was a great day. Great support on there. And so thank you to everybody else, everybody who took part in that. And you can still go along to any of the videos earlier on, and the link is there. Luke says, James said he was better. He was better, Robbie. Sack him. Did he say that? Anyone here say that? Oh, they're saying no over there. You guys did say Raphinha was better, says Air. Listen, I don't know who said that. I never said that. For me, if you look at last season, Raphinha or Saka, it's not even open to question. Saka was the better player last season. I don't know where the evidence is there. I don't even know where you got that from, right? But I'm not being salty either, because Raphinha is a top quality player. Raphinha would have been a great signing for Arsenal. So it's not being mean salty. It's just that I never said that. So I don't know where you get that from. Deb Kumar says, does it make sense to go for Asensio now? Well, that's a shout. Marco Asensio is available. Marco Asensio would be a hell of a lot cheaper. We'd probably be looking at a player that would probably be around about the £35 million mark, because he's only got a year left on his contract. And again, it's another really top-class player. So it's not the end of the world not getting Raphinha. You know what I mean? This is still very early in the transfer window. Very, very early in the transfer window. Anything can happen. As many of you have suggested here, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but let's just say Raphinha went to Chelsea and then next week Arsenal signed Gnabry. You'd be happy. Like this guy said, let's just say we signed Asensio. That would still be a great signing. It's not the end of the world. I think, you know what, if this would have happened late in the window, I'd be really gutted. But happening this early in the window still gives time to do something. Ousmane Dembele, if he doesn't sign a new deal, you know, with Barcelona, he could be a player that we could get in. Yeah, I mean, there's options in those areas. I think the most important signing for Arsenal so far this transfer window has been Gabriel Jesus, because we needed a striker, and we got a striker. So, you know. T-Sal says, double dip Ajax and get Martinez and Anthony for 80 million. Well, I'll tell you what, I see Anthony being, you know, Ajax quoting Manchester United 70 million for Anthony. So that's even more expensive than Raphinha. Your mama says, feel bad for Raphinha. He has to play wing back now. I said, you know what, I'm not sure if he fits Chelsea. I don't know. I don't know if it's me. I don't know. Does he fit Chelsea? I don't know. Be careful, Raphinha. You see what's happened with Lukaku. So be very, very careful. Farhan says, Robbie, that's why our fans need to stay real. Why do we forget the pathetic history of our transfers in the last 15 years? You got excited for no reason. Well, Farhan, I mean, what I'd say, again, is steady on. So far, this window, Arsenal have done very well. The signing of Gabriel Jesus, not an easy deal to do. They got that done. Should be announced tomorrow. We've made signings early. Our signings so far this window have not been dependent upon us selling loads of players first. These things happen in the transfer window. You can have a player that you're going for, right, and it doesn't happen. Last season, Manchester City, with all the money they had, they were going for Harry Kane. Everybody thought Harry Kane was going to go to Manchester City. It didn't happen. You know what I mean? These things happen. These things happen, right? So I'm not going to have a go right now. It's too early to start saying, right, I'm going to have a go now at Edu. And, you know, there's no point in putting out memes with him with flames on a barbecue and that. And now you're going to have a go at him if, you know, Raphinha ends up going to Chelsea. And then, as I said, we don't know what they're thinking. Have they got their eyes on another target? Have they decided that, you know what, we had a 50 million max that we were going to do and we're not going higher than that? And, you know, Chelsea are going 60, 65, let them have it. I don't know. You don't know. None of us know. You know? Let's get back into some of your comments. KHA OZ67 says 50 plus million for Raphinha is too much, quite frankly. Maybe this paves the way for Gnabry or alternatives to cover Saka. Finley says, as a Chelsea fan, I'm more than happy with this. With Ziyech on his way out, the great Ziyech. I thought you don't say how great he was, right? On his way out, he's the perfect replacement. I did say that a couple of days ago, that with Ziyech leaving, Arsenal, if they do want to get Raphinha, will have to move fast. Danielle says, we need to sign Gnabry. Let's not be disappointed. Things like this happen in football. So let's take the positives, like Arsenal signing early. And I definitely agree with you there. Miles Smith says, Rob, I forgot to mention, thanks for an excellent day on Sunday. Took my little boy and he loved it, especially the ice cream. The ice cream was nice. But it was a great event, the Claude Cup. GameCube for Life says, happy business, done early, time to shop. Raphinha plays right, and we have 2 players in that position. Pepe won't leave. Let's get a proven left winger. Elias8050 says, oh, Nicolas Pepe, better than Raphinha. A couple of days ago, you lot want him gone. Yeah, listen, somebody like Pepe may be sitting there thinking, Raphinha's not coming, they're going to get rid of me. It's still a long way to go in this window, I'll tell you that. Yanni says we should go for Richarlison or Gnabry. Now, Richarlison is linked heavily with a move to Tottenham. See, this is the thing. I'll tell you the one thing about this that could be a big factor in this whole Raphinha thing is missing out on the Champions League. How badly has that affected this deal? That is interesting to know. Joey says, sign Asensio and keep Pepe for depth. He's been great in the Europa in the past. True. Jarrell says, hope people can will Gnabry into reality. Arsenal, man, phenomenal at Bayern for his goals, assists and pace. Don't know why he hasn't been a first choice signing. Would be a great signing. He's listen, with Gnabry, 1 year left on his contract. Doable. Won't be cheap. I think, if he does decide to leave Bayern, they're going to want a lot of money for him. Unless Arsenal wait it out late down into the window. But doable. The only thing is, would Serge Gnabry want to come and play in the Europa League after year in, year out playing in the Champions League and starring sometimes for Bayern Munich? That's the question. Again, it's that missing out on the Champions League. Could that be a factor here? Joel says, Wayne Elliott says, reliable sources say Leeds are still open to a bidding war for Raphinha. Should we go to war? Well, they would be willing. Listen, if you're in Leeds' position right now, it's, well, number one, and I was with 2 Leeds fans earlier, and I can tell you this, they are not happy. Calvin Phillips going, Raphinha going, they are very, very angry about this situation. So the only way Leeds are going to be able to explain this away to their fans is, you know what, we got a ridiculous offer and we had to take it. So number one, it suits them in that aspect. Number two, if you Leeds, you want a bidding war. You want Arsenal and Chelsea in a bidding war. And it looks like that's exactly what's happened. And now, they're set to get, what, it could be 55 is what David Ornstein said. He said 55 plus. Could be 60, 65 million for Raphinha. And as far as I know, that will make him the most expensive signing so far this transfer window. Hold on, no. How much was Haaland? I think Haaland was a bit more. He'll be the second most expensive signing. Haaland was 69 million, I think it was. He's 65. Perfect for Leeds. For a player that they paid about, I don't even think they paid 20 million for it. I think it's about less than 20 million from Rennes. Hi, Robbie. What about Otavio, says Mama Knows. Otavio, again, was a player that we were linked to from Porto. Quality player. The only thing I'd say, Raphinha is Premier League proven. He's done it in the Premier League. He knows what the Premier League's all about. Would be able to hit the ground running. So I think that's the one when we look at Raphinha and we say, listen, this guy, we know he'll do well in the Premier League. So, Pat Bin says, we need players that actually want to play for Arsenal. Whoops. Well, that one just went past. Let me just see if I can get it back. By the way, Abina says Haaland was 52 million, so he would be the most expensive signing, Raphinha, so far this transfer window. Correction, Darwin Núñez. Yeah, you're right, Ian. Darwin Núñez most expensive for 85 million that he cost Liverpool. Raphinha would be the second most expensive signing as far as I can see. Christopher says all it takes is for Raphinha to reject Tuchel and Chelsea. Now, Christopher, like Fabrizio Romano pointed out in his tweet, the agent of Raphinha, or his representative, his ultimate agent is Jorge Mendes, but his representative is Deco, who used to play for Chelsea. So that could have an influence. I mean, Deco's going to be saying, you know what, Raphinha, I played for them. They're a great club. We win things. So that could be an influence as well. So, you know. BLST says, would you take Lucas Moura to Arsenal? No. Ryan J says, Robbie, if we don't finish top 4 the coming season, should Arteta be sacked? Well, listen, I think with the squad that Mikel Arteta is assembling, there'll be no excuses that, if we don't, make a good fist of trying to get into that top 4. So I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure this season to do that, or possibly could lose his job. Collar says, good riddance to a not so good player. I have never been moved by this linkage with us. There are other players we could go for. Are you just saying this now because, or I don't know. I'm just asking. C15 Rise says, everybody talking about wingers when we need a midfielder. Everyone too excited and forgetting why we lost the top 4 last year. And DJ Tox says, Haaland was 51 million in his clause. Núñez 80 million. Raphinha is overrated, says this guy. Just gone. So many of these tweets coming in. They're just flashing by. But that guy was suggesting that he's overrated. Gary Nolan said, would you take Sterling? Of course I'd take Sterling. From what I'm hearing, Chelsea are in for him too. Chelsea are not messing about. Chelsea are certainly not messing about. Sonic P says, salty. I'm definitely not salty. I'm not salty. It happens. You learn to understand how this transfer business goes. It happens. Arsenal, if we don't get him, they've tried to get him. Chelsea have come in with a bigger bid. As I said, I don't know the thinking behind, Edu and Arteta. Do they have another target in mind? Is there another player that's come up that, certainly according to what David Ornstein, or I think it was either David Ornstein or Fabrizio Romano was saying, up to this morning, Arsenal were talking 2 leads. Maybe it's just the thing that they just said they're not going above a certain amount. Simple. DJ says, you wish you had Lucas Moura instead of Pepe. No, I don't. No, I don't, mate. Sorry. You can keep Lucas Moura. The guy, he had one good game for Tottenham. Raphinha going to Chelsea hurts, but let's not have a meltdown, says Sam Roy. And I agree with that completely. It does hurt, because I would have loved to have seen him at Arsenal. He's an exciting player, but it's what it is. ER3D16 says, why do we take so much time to cross the line? This is what we deserve. This is so infuriating. Gutted. Feel like Gnabry would flop. How about you? Well, no, why would Gnabry flop? Yeah, I like Gnabry. Amit says, what about Di Maria? For me, Di Maria would just be a short-term fix. I don't want to see no more sort of Willian type players coming in. Somebody like Raphinha, 25 years old, would have made sense. By the way, big up to everybody in the chat at the moment. Big up to all of you guys watching. Over 10,000 of you watching live. So I really, really appreciate this. Of course, if you're just joining in right now, the big news is it looks like Chelsea have gazumped Arsenal for the signing of Raphinha from Leeds. Again, just getting into some of the tweets that's been out there today. Fabrizio Romano saying that Chelsea and Leeds have reached a full agreement for Raphinha. Official bid of around 60 to 65 million pounds, add-ons included. Main part amount to be paid immediately. It's done between the clubs. Talks now ongoing. On the player side, personal terms and a contract, right? So that's what he said. And David Ornstein also tweeted, let me just get his tweet that he put up. He was the first one to break this exclusively. And he said that Chelsea are close to agreeing a fee north of 55 million with Leeds for Raphinha, but not done yet. Chelsea now best placed with Leeds. And the 25-year-old as long-term favourites, Barcelona can't afford it at present. Arsenal not currently at the required price, right? So Chelsea, they put the money on the table and they look like they've got their man, although still has to be agreed. Personal terms still have to be agreed between Raphinha and Chelsea. But yeah, looks like if you was a betting man, you'd say he's on his way to Chelsea. Charles Willis says, what about Cody Gakpo? Now, that's an alternative. Cody Gakpo, he's one of the alternatives Leeds are actually looking at to replace him. Quality player. And, you know, we never know. You know, did you know people didn't know a lot about Raphinha before he came in? But Raphinha we know about now, and he is a quality player. 1980 rules says we can live without Raphinha, but after January we must have a massive summer. Lots of time left to do more, but very important we keep going. True. Wayne Elliott says Serge Gnabry and Seko Fofana together would be the same money as Raphinha and be better spent. Serge Gnabry, by the way, though, would be mega wages. Somebody like Raphinha, probably like 100,000, 120,000 pounds a week. Somebody like Serge Gnabry, probably looking, I think I read the other day, he's looking upwards towards around about 300,000 pounds a week. Big difference in the wages. Miles Smith says, hey, Jesus has played out on the right before, which he can, that is very true. So he can fill that role should Saka not play with Eddie through the middle. Again, all very good points you guys are making here. Charles Willis, what about Cody Gakpo? I think I just did that one. And again, another good point. Great point he makes there about the fact that Jesus can play out on the right. I mean, did we need Raphinha? Being completely real right now, did we need Raphinha? Is it just us just saying to ourselves, oh, let's just get some unbelievable vanity signings in that we don't really need? I would have loved him, I'm being honest. But do we need him? I'm just asking the question. BLST says maybe Arsenal should go back in for Bowen from West Ham. I think the other thing is now is that if Arsenal go in for any of those sort of players, like a Bowen, you know what West Ham are going to say, isn't they? We want 65 million. Raphinha's just gone to Chelsea for 65. You want Bowen, we want 65 for him too. So it's the business, man. It's a lot of bartering to be done at this time of year. Christian says, Robbie, let's not forget, we've got Gabriel Jesus today. Every other top team was in for him, but he came to Arsenal. There's hope for us if we don't get Raphinha. As I said, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. I ain't going to lie. I would have loved Raphinha. I think it would have been an exciting signing. But if we don't get him, it's not the end of the world. Losing him to Chelsea, don't like that. Because, you know, he's a London rival. Don't like the fact that he's going to go to Chelsea. But it's football. It's happening. And you know what? There's ages of this transfer window to go. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it. So there's one chat I was trying to... Arsenal fans getting salty, says Azan. Well, I just told you, me personally, not me. Your mama says, report saying Raphinha hasn't decided his next club yet, so we still have a chance if we really want the player. That is true. I mean, Arsenal could come in and they could match the bid of Chelsea and try and get Raphinha. But most definitely at this moment in time, I'd have to say Chelsea are the favourites to get him. They've put the money down. They want him. And there's been talk in the past as well that he'd be happy to go to Chelsea if he couldn't get Barcelona. He'd be happy to go to either Arsenal or Chelsea. So I think they've probably got their man. Sean says 65 million is too much when we need cover at left back and a central midfielder. And sorry, I was trying to find this one. It's just disappeared from me. JN, you're funny, JN. He goes, Arsenal should now turn our attention to Draxler. How many years were we after him? And he's actually available now, Draxler. Ian McCalla says Pulisic, Ziyech, Hudson-Odoi, and now Raphinha. That's a lot of wingers for a side that doesn't use wingers. That's very true. Ziyech looks like he's going. I don't look like they fancy Pulisic. Don't look like they fancy Hudson-Odoi. It is a lot of wingers, isn't it? It is a lot of players who can play and for a team that don't really play wingers, like you said, you know. Would he even be a starter at Chelsea? Says Tracksmith Beats. Something he's going to have to take into account. It's a World Cup year for Brazilian players. You don't want to go somewhere and you're going to sit on the bench, but he's quality. Ehad says, I'm so upset over this. Aggravated this happened. Robbie, what do you think about Arsenal going for the likes of James Maddison? Would be a great sign. It would be very, very, very expensive. And I don't think we'd be going for James Maddison because we bought in Fabio Vieira. Let's not forget, people, we've already spent a lot of money this window, nearly over 80 million. Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos, Matt Turner, Gabriel Jesus. We've brought back William Saliba. Don't be too disheartened by this. Don't get too down. Would have loved Raphinha. Don't get me wrong. Would have loved it. But don't get too down. Right? There's a long way to go in the window. And Arsenal are moving a little different to we normally move. So I'm going to say right now, I'm going to keep faith in Edu and Arteta in what they do now in the transfer window because they've started it well. These things happen. You can be going after, big clubs sometimes going after players. Other big clubs come in, it happens. Who puts the money on the table gets the player. And as I said, they may be looking at it and saying, well, you know what? That was our ceiling. We're not paying no more than that. Irish Jags fan says, Raphinha, 11 goals, 4 penalties. Emil Smith-Rowe, 10 goals, no penalties. True. Alpha Q says we need to prioritise the midfield, otherwise no top 4. Charlie says you weren't saying this when we missed out on Basuma. That was because at the time when we missed out on Basuma, Charlie, we hadn't really made no signings yet, right? So we missed out on Basuma. And I thought Basuma would have been perfect for Arsenal. But took it on the chin and said, all right, fair enough, we missed out on Basuma. Since that, we bought Fabio Vieira. We bought Gabriel Jesus. I'm happy so far. More to be done, but I'm still happy. Football Hit says Saka, Raphinha. He was just a rest Saka. No need to be sad. So I think he's just saying he would just be behind Saka. So no, he'd be on the bench for Saka. So listen, it's always good to have a lot of quality in the team. Always good to have a lot of quality in the team. So, Ian says that we should go for the title, Robbie. We would have spent around about 4 million in its entirety in 2 seasons, which is more than Man City and Liverpool. There are no excuses, Robbie. We should compete for titles. That's what we're trying to get to that stage so we can. You can't just turn around and say, we spent more than Liverpool. Well, you know what? They haven't had to spend as much as we have. But if you actually look at the spend over the years, those clubs have spent more than Arsenal. You can't compare our spending with Man City. They spent over $1 billion, way over $1 billion, right? So we're playing catch up. They've got a great squad in place. They don't even need to buy many players, and they've got so many players of value that they've been able to recoup that money when they're spending. So it's but let's be real. We've been in a mess, and a big mess that needs to be cleared up. And looks like finally this season we're in a position when we can be spending money and buying players. Peaky Drift says, what about Serge Gnabry? He would be the dream addition to our squad. It looks like universally everybody out there saying, well, get Serge Gnabry in and we won't care. Here's another one here from Uzumaki. He says, Zaha, 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 with fire emojis. Somebody asked me about this the other day. They said, was it James? Somebody asked me, he was here in the studio, and somebody said, would you rather Zaha or Raphinha? And I said, listen, Zaha's probably better than Raphinha. Not probably, he's better than Raphinha. But I'd probably take Raphinha, and I'm just being totally honest, I'm not being salty after the event, but I'd probably take Raphinha because he's younger. Zaha now, 29. I'm not sure when he's going to be 30. Raphinha's still 25. And Zaha would be still a lot of money because of, he's Zaha, and, Crystal Palace wouldn't let him go on the cheap. Christopher says, Tielemans as soon as possible. We need support for Partey in the middle. Come on. Now, listen, if we turned around tomorrow and put in a bid for Tielemans and I would be more than happy with that. But let's be real, that's more important than signing another player on the right wing. But then I'll be excited with Raphinha too. Alan says, would have loved Raphinha, but who do you think is the alternative, Robbie? Well, a few alternatives have been named out already. We've heard a lot of people say Serge Gnabry. We've heard people say Marco Asensio. We've heard people talk about Cody Gakpo. We've heard people just say, scrap the right-hand side and let's just go and get Tielemans in. It would be 25 million. So go for Poulsen for attack and depth and Asensio, says Samuel. So there's lots of alternatives out there that people are suggesting. Zaha, maybe? So there's lots of alternatives there. Right, let's get some more in. Here we go. Ali Mohammed says, go for Neymar. We don't want to pay the money for it. We don't want to pay the money for Raphinha and Neymar. We going to get the money to pay for that for? You must be joking, man. We ain't got that sort of money right now. Oh, boy. Oh, go for Harry Kane as backup, this guy said. Oh, well, you got some. Yeah, I'm glad you got humour with you tonight. Ehad says, I hope everyone stops chatting about Zaha. 29 and overrated. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's a very good player. We missed out big time today. We better get Tielemans and Martinez. Do better, Arsenal. Ooh. And Robbie, shout out to our best friend, please. Abu. I hope this man's not baiting me. Abu Kara. Am I been baited? I hope not. And that's coming from Omar. Hope I haven't been baited, but big up yourself. Musa Diaby, says Leaf Quit. That's a great shout. That's another really exciting player, to be fair. And I'm sure he'd be a bit cheaper as well. But that is another. Leandro Spinazzola from Roma would be good. I don't think they'd sell him. He'd be very expensive if they sold him. But that's another great two shout. I'm just double checking here as I'm speaking to see if there's been any updates. Right, so I'm looking on keeping this in real time, and all I can see is it's just the same thing really. The same story and over again. Raphinha could be on his way to Chelsea. This guy's saying he understands Raphinha turned down Tottenham and had formally discussed a move with Arsenal, and that there's lots of speculation going around right now. Yeah, lots of speculation. And Chelsea are moving big because if they get Raphinha and Raheem Sterling, what is that? That makes them a very serious proposition for next season as well. Who needs Raphinha when we got Pepe, says Manpreet. Nate Barnes says Rafael Leao would be a nice addition. Well, he would be a nice addition. Very much doubt we'd be able to get him away. Again, no Champions League football. That's a problem, and he's going to play that this year. Pierce says, now that Raphinha probably won't happen, we should go for Marco Asensio. Us Arsenal fans need to chill, says Maths. You haven't caught me out. We will sign Rafi from Chelsea in 6 years. Yeah, all right. Hamza says, get Zanilio from Roma. 1 year left on his contract. He can play out wide and in midfield. AS says, as a rival fan, out of all the signings rumoured, the one that worries me is Lisandro Martinez. Quality player, just what we need as well. Arsenal still after him. That's another player that if we don't mess around, we could be gazumped up on him as well. Remember, Manchester United are very interested in him. Luis Fernandez says, hey, Robbie, Bernardo Silva would be a great replacement for Raphinha. Have you seen his recent performances for Portugal? But he'd be brilliant, but I don't think, again, he's going to go to somewhere without Champions League football. Charlie said we should sign Tammy Abraham. Jesus can cover right wing. Stan says, I am more upset that Raphinha went to Chelsea. Yeah, that's... Let's be real. Him going to Chelsea, it would have been worse if he went to Tottenham. Oh. Subtle Grace says, Raphinha was exciting, but we didn't need him. Let's focus on Tielemans and Martinez. It will be sad if we miss out on those two. We need players like... I think he's saying Maxwell Cornet, perfect fit. That's a shout. Maxwell Cornet, he's more left-sided though, isn't he? But that's a shout. BLSD says, give Cecil the number 11 and send him to play. Did you see him play the other day? No. Right, I'm going to do a few more and then I'm going to wind it down, right, because... my daughter's in the studio as well, and I can see her looking at me. She probably wants to go and watch Love Island. Right, listen, we got breaking news here. I can see Hass is laughing over there. It's big breaking news, Hass, man. You know what I mean? But you know, Love Island, right? So let's get a few more in. Ice Wreckage says, Robbie, check this. Sign Skamaka from Sassuolo. He's dope target man, exactly what we need. Good old up play, dope passer, and he's 6'5". He's sick in the air. Put Jesus on the wing. Shout. Christian says, Robbie, a few seasons ago, Pepe was a panic buy, and we paid 72 million for him, and he flopped. We've now learnt, and we're buying sensibly. Good shout. Peaky Dress says buy Marcel Sabitzer, who's available. Buy and looking to sell him. Ledandi says Chelsea are still beatable. If Raphinha flops, Chelsea will have flushed 200 EMs down the toilet. And let me get two more in here. It's your boy N says, not much disappointing. He was never our target. We have Saka, Pepe, and now Jesus can play on the right wing. Money better spent in CDM and a backup left back. And let me get one more. There's one suggestion here from Adi Kwan. He says, what about Adama Traore? I like this one as well from Carl Watson. Sarr from Watford would be way cheaper. That's another shout. I like Sarr. Good player. Right, listen, I'm going to round it up there. Listen, I want to thank you guys very, very much for tuning into this live. And yeah, let's recap. Looks like Raphinha's on his way to Chelsea. Basically, Chelsea have done a deal. They've spoken to Leeds United and they've agreed on a fee of sounding like around about 60 to 65 million pounds for Raphinha. Chelsea are now speaking to his representatives to agree terms. If terms are agreed, Raphinha will leave Leeds and become a Chelsea player. Disappointing for Arsenal fans because all the indications over the past week or so was that Arsenal were the front runners to get Raphinha, but it looks like Arsenal have decided that, 65 million is too much money. They're not going to go for that. They're going to turn their attention to other targets, and we'll have to wait to see what those other targets are. Thanks very much for watching the show. Don't forget, I'll be back in the morning with Transfer Daily, so make sure you come and check it out. I'm sure we'll be linked with a whole host of players instead of Raphinha, so make sure you come and check that out in the morning. But thank you very much for tuning into all the content today, and hopefully we'll get some good news tomorrow anyway. I'm expecting Gabriel Jesus to be announced as an Arsenal player tomorrow. Big up Ehad. He said, can you say Dede United in the mud? Just said it. Thanks very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.